Okay, get a little bit more work to do on the rock ledge there, and it's not too difficult. You'll want to have a piece of paper or a paper towel to cover the top half of your painting and the bottom, cover everything top and bottom around the rock. So I'm going to lay some towel here because I'm going to spatter. So along the rock, I'm using the same brush again, number 3, 2 or 3, and I want some burnt umber and ultramarine blue mix, dark gray. Mix it up on your palette. And then my technique for spattering is to snap the brush on my finger and get a little bit of color onto the painting. A toothbrush works, tapping the brush a little bit. I'm going to move these over so I can do the right-hand side as well.
What color are you using?
Burnt umber and ultramarine blue mixed together on the palette. Getting very fine spattering with this brush. You might want a little bit bigger brush. Now, after I have spattered there, I'm going to take some water on my brush and I'm going to come in and tap into the spattering. Kind of makes it, makes them bigger, makes the spatters a little bit bigger and gives it a little bit of texture. So just tap the brush into the spatters and it'll give you some another little shape of shape value. And you can spatter again while that's damp if you want. It didn't cover it, but I'll spatter and then tap in some water into the spatters. And it gives you a little bit of a mottled look. A little bit on this side. Just kind of scruff it up a little bit too with the brush. And it'll pick up a little bit of those spattered dots and make them into another little shape. Then the fun part, the chairs and the flowers. This is where you're gonna probably have to have your, I hope you all have your reference photo nearby to follow the, well, I'm gonna paint them, but it might be easier to follow where the blue shadowed lines go on the chairs. Do you have your reference photo handy?
Yes.
Okay. So as soon as that burnt umber, the rocks dry, you can take off your masking fluid. If you have your little lift, or I'm going to use my finger and roll it.
With everything, huh?
Yep. Take all the masking off. If you get it on nice and thick, it'll come off almost in one piece. I'm having good luck with it. There, I got it off in almost 2 pieces.
Oh.
Piece of masking tape rolled up to stick to it will lift it too, if you can't get it rolling it off.
Try that.
And I'm sticking with my number 2 brush again and my ultramarine blue.
Linda, I can't get mine off.
Really?
I'm allergic to latex, so I have gloves on.
Oh, do you have any masking tape handy?
Yeah,
Try rolling a piece of masking tape and sticking it to it.
okay.
Yeah, double it around and put the sticky side down onto the masking. See if that'll grab it.
Yes, it's working.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Linda, are we doing the flower pots
Yes,
as well? Okay.
yes. All the masking. I think we'll actually start painting the pots first too. I'm thinking there's not a lot left to finish up, but depending on how you feel, you could probably handle doing the chairs on your own with just following the color print with the ultramarine blue shadows. We'll see what happens for time. I can go a little later than 2:30 if we have to finish this up, maybe, if you want to.
Indian red. I have Indian red. Oh, I have Indian red. What if we don't have Indian red? Should we have Indian red?
You might have it. If you don't have Indian red, use cadmium and burnt sienna.
Ah, okay. Okay, those two we have. You gave those, I have those two.
Okay, good. Yeah, cadmium and burnt sienna for the pots. If you don't have Indian red, I know some of you had some of your own colors from before, but I don't know that you have the Indian red. Are we ready to do one of the pots? Okay, so Indian red is the mix, is the color if you have it from your other stash that you might have bought on your own. But if you don't have Indian red, we're going to use cadmium to make that brick terracotta color. It's very little cadmium, it's almost all over sienna.
Yeah, I got it.
You might want a little scrap of paper to try out your color. So what we're gonna do is the bottom of the pot, not the top rim right now. We're gonna do that separate. So from the line that outlines the rim of the pot, we're gonna wet it down all the way across. Wet the whole bottom below that line that indicates the rim, I guess you call it. So I'm wetting just that bottom section and go over it a couple of times with your brush to really work the water into the paper so it's not soaking, puddling wet. It has to be a little just a little on the damper side, not really wet. We're going to take the mix of cadmium red and burnt sienna and place it down on the left hand side, all the way down just on the left, about 1/4 of an inch so far I've got. And be a little bit closer to 1/2 an inch, not really half the pot, but a little less than half the pot. And a little bit up here under the rim and a little bit at the bottom here. And then just let it dry. And you got a nice sense of sunlight coming in there. If you can control that burnt sienna mix, just going into the left over towards the right. The next pot's done the same way. Wet it below the rim, all the way over. Just dampen it, not soaking wet. Just damp. Take the burnt sienna mix, place it on the left. Let it soften out towards the right. And under the rim a little bit. And you can kind of go along the bottom, clean your brush and sort of tap the edge where the dark stops and the light starts. Take the brush and kind of tap it, and it'll give you a nice edge. And the last one's done the same way. Wet it again. Oops, got color this time. Wet it again, just under the lip, under the rim. Work in the, scruff the brush up a little bit to work the water in the paper. Color underneath the rim, about almost halfway. down the left-hand side. A little bit over towards the bottom, towards the middle of the bottom. Rinse your brush and take the excess water off if you need to soften the edge where the dark touches the light. You can just tap a dry brush right along there and you get a nice blend. So that gives you your shading on your pots. We'll do the top after these dry. Nice contrast you want. The more, the darker you go with something like this, the darker you go, the more light you're gonna reflect. Now, I know some of you have some of your own colors again. You might have rose, permanent rose, which can be used for the geraniums. I used alizarin crimson. You could use cadmium red. I'm going to use alizarin crimson again. And I'm going to water it down so it's very, very light on my palette. So take the alizarin and some water, and make it really, really light. A very light wash is what's the first step for this. Very light. And I'm going to go in and just take that color right onto the dry paper. And you can, again, look at your reference photo to see which ones are flowers and which ones are leaves. Mostly they're flowers and just a little bit of greenery in the pots. Okay. I'm gonna just, ooh, too dark. Very, very light wash of the alizarin crimson, if that's what you're using, into the little shape of the flower head. Need more water here. Make sure it's not a perfect circle. You want it bumpy on the edges, again, irregular on the edges, so they don't look like lollipops. And I'm going to put in all the shapes that I see with a very irregular edge. And all the flowers, just get this very pale wash of alizarin or rose or cadmium, whatever you choose for color. They could be white, I suppose, but that would be kind of a distraction with the tree. White picture. Little bits of the red, the irregular edge, that's the important thing. Take your tippy brush out. Kind of jab the brush so the tip of the brush is creating a very irregular edge on these little blossoms. So you get little juts of color coming out here. You'll avoid perfect circles. Little specks of white. You know, flecks of white in the middle of the flower, that's okay. It's add a lot of interest. I'm going to dry a little bit lighter, but still lean towards the light side of the color, light value, because we've got to come back in again with some dark.
What was she saying? It's mute.
Now, once the flowers dry, we're going to come in with darker alizarin and put in some more little shapes, leaving, of course, some of the lighter color. So now I'm going to just wiggle my brush around and add some darker alizarin crimson in the blossom. Just some other little shadow shapes. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing or if my head's in the way. I have to get kind of close to do it, but get my head in the way, I think. So little bits of the alizarin in the darker tone. And it's really important to leave some of the light alizarin still showing. And I'll let you finish up with that maybe at home during the week instead of taking the time to, so we're almost out of time, but I want to show you also how to add in the green, sap green, sap green with some ultramarine blue, I'm sorry. It's the geranium leaves are a little on the blue side. So sap green with some ultramarine blue. That goes in all the little spaces. Within the pot, after you've got your blossoms in, you've probably got some little random shapes of white left. If you don't, just try to pop in a little bit of a green. The rest of the negative space that's left in the pot, put in a few leaves, maybe a stem here and there if you have a tall one. These are so small, you don't need a lot of detail. But the negative space around the flowers gets filled in with the sap green mixed with ultramarine blue. Kind of separates the blossoms here and there too. You can put a little bit of green in to separate the blossoms. And we'll just do the top rims of the pots, and then next time the chairs, I guess. Does that work for everybody?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have the next picture ready to go?
Yes, you want to have your buoys, the lobster buoys. You want to have those masked out with masking fluid, at least the edges. You can fill the whole thing in if you want, but you at least want to outline with masking fluid so that you can paint the background. Okay, the tops of these little pots.
Linda, can you let Lisa in again? Her computer died. She just got back on.
Oh, yep.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
We got you, Lisa.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
What did I miss?
I was just doing the flowers. You got poking in some greens.
Oh, okay.
around the
Is that the
flowers.
sap?
Sap
that-
green with a little ultramarine in it to make a little bit of a blue green.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
And then the other is the darker alizarin crimson, dabbing in little bits of that, but always leaving some of the light crimson showing.
Oh, okay. Great. Thank you.
Mhm.
Are we finishing the top of the flower pot and the chair next week?
Yeah, actually, maybe you can do the flowers on your own. If you can't, that's okay. I'll give you instruction next week. But just to go over we're gonna do the top of the pot right now.
Oh, we are? Oh,
Yeah. And then
okay.
the flowers, you'll be doing the darker alizarin, leaving some of the light alizarin still showing through. So
Okay,
they look like blossoms. Yeah,
okay.
I'm gonna do the top of the pots. What you're gonna do again is wet them across, just water on dry paper. Wet with just clean water, I should say. And then your color, darker on the left. And rinse your brush, take the excess water off, and pull a little bit of that color over to the right. So it's nice and light on the right-hand side. Just pull a little bit of the color over. I'll do one more. Wet it with clean water. Just that rim section. Color. Down in on the left. Put over to the and then rinse your brush and take off the excess water on a towel, and then come back where you stopped with the color and pull it over to the other side. You want your brush to be dry when you do that, otherwise you'll have a real watermark. Last one is the same, clean water over. a little too wet and dry it a little with a towel. And your color on the left towards the middle. Rinse your brush and take off the excess water, and then come in where you stopped your color and pull it over so it's lighter. You should have some nice contrast, dark against light, if you do it that way.
The rest of the pot is white, Linda? Doesn't look white. And
No, it's got a tint of that
oh,
color.
over. I got you now. Okay.
Yeah, it's got a tint of the Indian red color, but it is very light. It really gives you a sense of sunlight coming in because you have real strong cast shadows on those pots. So you know you have a really strong sense of light.
Okay, I got you.
And those you can put in those cast shadows under the pots too if you want. Those
Right.
are ultramarine blue. See, some of this, you've got this in your instructions, but just under the pots, there's a little bit of an elongated oval coming out the side here like that, under the pot. Just the little cast shadows, they come out into an oval on the left-hand side, and then underneath the pot. That's ultramarine blue for the cast shadows. And that makes gives you a good sense of light as well. So does anybody have a question on something that they're going to need to finish up at home?
On the flower pots on the right-hand side, where in the sunlight,
Yeah,
do we do a tiny outline for outlining the pot, or you just kind of leave it?
on
You know what I mean?
the pot itself.
Yeah, right-hand side.
Yeah, the right-hand one, yeah.
Where it's hit with the sunlight, you just kind of leave that. You don't do an outline of a darker color or anything. You're just leaving it to the sun, right?
Yeah, just a value, not an outline.
Okay.
Just a value of a light, that light Indian red color.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. So you can work on finishing your geraniums with little dabs of the darker alizarin crimson, filling in the negative spaces with the hooker's green and ultramarine blue mix for the leaves. Just poke in a little bit of greenery. These are so small, you're not going to see veins in the leaves and all that. They're very small and not too detailed. And then Elisa, I don't know if you missed to have your lobster buoys ready for next week. Mask out the buoys either as like a 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch outline around them, or fill them all in. But at least put an outline of masking fluid around them, and probably the handles all filled in.
Thank you.
Yep.
Linda, how far on the outline of the buoys, do you want us to go out a little bit, like you said, 1/4 inch out past?
No, inside.
Inside.
Inside the buoy, you're gonna either fill in the whole buoy, from the edge, the outline into the center, or you're gonna just make an outline around the buoy, but it will be inside the pencil line.
Close to it?
Yeah, right up to the pencil line, but on the right or left of the pencil line, not outside the actual object.
Okay, yep,
On the actual object.
okay.
I just acquired an original Sam Thorpe painting. For those of you that know Sam Thorpe,
Oh, exciting.
I just got an original of his, yeah.
You should show us.
Yeah, I'll have to bring it in and show you. I got it at an auction. It was really a good deal. So. Yeah, I could take a picture of it and send it in an email.
Definitely. I love his paintings.
Yeah, this one's a little different style of his. It's got a little bit of abstraction in it. They're really cool. Brenda, you can tell Louise. Brenda? No, can't hear you.
I forgot I was muted.
Oh, you
What
can
was,
tell
was it
tell
title?
Louise that I got an original painting of her husband's.
Yeah, what, did it have a title on it?
No, it doesn't have a
Oh,
title.
okay. But it was kind of abstract.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it had some abstraction added to the realism. It's a barn roof,
Uh-huh.
and it's just the roof and some stripes like in the background. It's really neat,
Oh, wow.
but I was happy with it.
I bet. Yeah. That's quite a find.
Yeah. My daughter actually got one too, and it's going to be hanging in her shop.
Oh, cool. Oh,
Yeah.
that'll please her.
Yeah.
Linda, where's that shop again? Your daughter's shop?
Where the settle shop used to be. It's
Oh.
not open yet. She's aiming for November 1st.
Okay, I know where that is. Okay. I pass it every day. I should know where it is.
Yeah, yep.
Yep.
It should be November 1st. Looking for artists,
Well, I've been playing with some,
crafters,
see what happens, yeah.
if you know anybody, pass the word along. Shoppers.
Yeah, even more important, right?
Yeah. Anybody have any questions about today, what we did today, or any problems, or are you thinking you like, you don't like?
I don't have any questions about today, Linda, but do you have any idea when they're going to let us into the building? I know they're letting a lot of other crafters in.
I don't know that, well, I can throw this out to everybody and see what you think. There was the option of using the meeting hall, the big lunchroom, you know, and sitting one or maybe two to a table. but it was gonna mean a lot of walking around for me, and I have this really bad arthritis in my knee. So I'm thinking if people didn't mind me sitting down and bringing something to me if you had a question.
Oh, yeah, that'd be fine. It'd be so
That
nice
would be great.
in
Yeah.
person.
Yeah, that was the thing right now with this knee. I'm going on the 15th to see. I hope I don't need a knee replacement, but it's really bad. So that was the thing. It was going to mean a lot of walking around that big room that I wasn't going to be able to do that. So if people are open to getting up to show me what you need help with, and I can sit I mean, I can walk some, but I can sit most of the time, I would love to do that.
We get out too.
Yeah,
That'd be a plus for me.
yeah,
Get with people, socialize, you know?
yeah.
Mario's in the VA now. He'll be there the rest of his life. I'm all alone here again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I know they do bingo, and I'm not sure that, I think people come, I'm not sure. Now, if they do, they were having felting or something, weaving, I guess.
Right, yeah.
They come here, yeah. So let me talk to Katie and see if that's still an option. Oh, the other part of that was that the only time frame she had available for that room was 4 o'clock.
On Thursday?
I believe so, Thursday, yeah.
It'll be 4 to 5:30, right?
Yeah, so that means driving in the dark, and I don't know if that's an issue with anybody. I don't have that far to go, but some of you that have farther to go, I don't know if that's an issue with you or not.
I don't have far to.
Is that a problem for you though, Linda, to drive at night, or does your
No,
husband-
no, I'm close by. No, that's not
Okay.
a problem.
All right, because it's not a problem to me.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're probably
Not a
the
problem
furthest
for
one
me.
away.
Not for me either.
Okay,
For me, I'll stay overnight at my daughter's,
oh, good, yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
hey, that's great.
and I get to see my 5 granddaughters.
oh, good, good.
A blessing. Yeah.
Oh, that's all right, we're closing up anyway. I guess we're about done for today then. So have your lobster buoys all masked out. We'll do that next week. We do have 3 more weeks for October, so I'm thinking the lobster buoys might only take 2 weeks. And I have a small flower pitcher that I could throw in for the last week, but that would mean you'd have to come in and pick up the project package.
Okay.
So
That's okay.
That's okay.
Not a hardship.
Okay. Well, I'll see how it goes, how much we get accomplished next week, and then I'll have it ready for pickup the following week, and then you'll have it for the last week.
Sounds good.
Okay. Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you,
Thank you
Linda.
so much.
Well, thank you
Okay.
for being there.
You're welcome.
Have a
Have a
good
great week, Linda.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, Linda. Thank you.
Bye. You're welcome.
Much.
Nice.